Relapsing does not mean that you are a failure. It does not. Relapse means that a trigger has happened and you have momentarily regressed. Does relapse means I'm a failure? So I had a client that was feeling a lot of self-doubt after having a relapse, and they felt like they were a failure, that they weren't good enough, that they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And that prompted me to having a conversation which led to this topic. And so we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my perspective on failure, feeling like a failure in your sobriety journey. And tell me your perspective. I would love to hear what you think about this. Do you think that relapse means that you are a failure? So in my professional world, in my everyday life, and in my personal life, the word failure for me means when you have not tried anything, right? So for example, if you are wanting to be a chef but you just never try, you never take the chance to do it, then to me that would equate to being a failure, because you are not putting in any effort to do what you want to do. And so when I think of relapse in the sobriety journey, I don't think of failure. I think of triggers. And so there's a big difference. Relapsing does not mean that you are a failure. It does not. Relapse means that a trigger has happened and you have momentarily regressed in your progress. And so in my world, or in my definition, what I would expect is that when one relapses on their journey, they should pay closer attention to their safety plan, their prevention plan, their coping skills, their coping strategies that they have in place, because that is what I would think that a relapse means, is for you to revisit those plans and to make adjustment as needed. I found this fun fact on Psychology Today and I thought that it was perfect for this video. And it says, studies suggest that approximately half of all individuals who try to get sober return to heavy use, with 70 to 90% experiencing at least one mild to moderate slip. So just imagine how many people out here are on their sobriety journey. And one thing again is that a sobriety journey, or your sobriety journey, is a lifetime recovery. It is not a 1 week, 2 week, 1 month, 2 month, 90 days journey. And so you ought to expect that you may have a minor slip up, a moderate slip up, or even a major slip up. But what that suggests is that, one, you're human. Two, you just need to revisit what your treatment goals are, your treatment plan, and get back to the drawing board. With that being said, I'm going to put my points in a little analogy for you, which may seem so simple but means a whole lot, right? So you turn your faucet on, and I'm talking about your faucet in your bathroom. You turn your faucet on and you leave the house. You forget to turn your faucet on and your tub overflows. Upon returning to your house, you realizes that you left the faucet on and your floors and the house has been flooded. You immediately turn the faucet off. My question to you is, does turning off the faucet undo the damages to your floor and your walls? Does turning the faucet off only fixes the damage to your floors and to your walls? What do you think? I'll give you a second to think on that. So, no. Turning the faucet off, one, does not fixes your floor and your walls. Two, turning your faucet off does not undo the damages caused by you leaving the faucet on. And I say that because as you go through your sobriety journey, and this is where my little funny simple analogy comes into play. When you are going through substance abuse recovery, or when you have used substances for a period of time, there has been a lot of damages to your brain. So the running water represents you the drugs that you have used, right? The floor and the walls in a house represents your brain. So you turning that water off does not repair the floors. You will have to put the work in to repair the floors and also to repair the wall. Similarly, when you decide that you are going to stop using drugs and you are now going to go on your sobriety journey, the damages to your brain does not reverses. They're not undone just because you decide that you are no longer using drugs. You have to now put the repair work in. Similarly, you would put the work in to repair your floors and your wall to get them back to a functioning ability to where you can walk on them with no problem. Walking, they don't sink. Walls aren't having molds. There are no holes in the wall. As with your brain, now that you have decided to stop turning off feeding your brain substances, illicit drugs, you now have to put the work in to repair your brain. And repairing your brain will come with you restructuring your thought process, curving your cravings, you implementing coping strategies, whether that is going to AA meetings, going to NA meetings, eliminating people, places, and things that trigger you into using, surrounding yourself with positive people who are going to uplift you and build you up into maintaining your sobriety. Those are the coping strategies. Those are the repairing strategies that you're now implementing in your sobriety journey. And as a result, one needs to realize that your sobriety journey does not exempt you from a relapse. You are going to always have triggers. Your triggers may not be the same triggers or may not come in the same form as they were in the beginning of your sobriety journey. So in the beginning of your sobriety journey, your triggers may have come from you still surrounding yourself with the same people that you may have used with, people who you bought from, family members who are in your home who also use. And so that may have presented you with a hard choice to stop using drugs. That would have been a trigger. And so now that you are in your maintenance phase, which is your sobriety journey, you will now have some of those same triggers, but your triggers may come in the form of anxiety, in the form of stress, in the form of financial instability. And so implementing a good prevention plan, a good coping strategy should also include strategies that are going to help you identify early signs of triggers. And so when you have a relapse, your plan may have been lacking a plan that helps you identify early signs of triggers that will trigger you into having a relapse. You are not in the same phase of the stages of change in your sobriety journey. In the first half of your sobriety journey, you may have been in the pre-contemplation phase. You may have been unable to go 4 days without using. In the maintenance phase of your sobriety journey, you may have gone months without using. Your treatment plan, your goals, and your coping strategies need to reflect the level of your sobriety journey. Reason being, the longer you are in your sobriety journey, the more you want to feed yourself and not become complacent. Oftentimes, people may become complacent in their journey, and that's where slip-ups may happen. So, to get back to the initial question, does relapse mean I'm a failure? No, it does not mean you're a failure. It simply means that a trigger presented itself and you weren't ready to handle that trigger and it got the better of you. Now you need to go back to the drawing board and to figure out how you are going to address those triggers, what coping skills you are going to implement. So yes, let's talk about this in the comment section. Do you believe that relapse is a failure? So as always, thank you guys for stopping by. If you have not already joined the family, what are you waiting for? I would love to have you as part of the family. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification so that you are notified each time I upload. And thank you guys for coming by. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.